Hi, it's Bible study time. So I think yesterday I was talking with a sister and we're just talking about the story of Abraham, how now we have like two nations, and it's not that we all know. If you know what I'm talking about, it's just so like there's one nation like this, there's another nation like this that is like more, should I say, or how will I put it? But when we're discussing it, the person I was discussing it was like, God have a way that this wouldn't have come to pass. Like, do you get that? Maybe we would have just peace and unity and everything would have been okay. And I was trying to explain to her that is God for you. Because it's a God that he believed that out of every mess, something good can still come out of it. So even though as there's another nation and all that, every day, like we hear testimony of people like accepting Jesus Christ, or people like repenting and all that, like he will still like win souls even from the other nation and all that. He's still a God of everyone. Like, do you get? And I did my Bible study today and I decided to like study Genesis. I'm talking about the story of Abraham, Sarah, and Hagar. So if you start reading, I did my Bible study today. I started from Genesis 16. That Genesis 16 is more of Sarah telling Abraham, I'm old now, I don't have a child, I want to have a child. Why can't you just take my maid servant, that is Hagar, our servant, and just go into her and let her have a child for me? Sarah said Hagar should have a child for her. Why Abraham was waiting for a child from God? Because God told Abraham that he was going to like bless him with so many descendants, and his descendants will be like great, and they will multiply and they will fill the whole earth. Do you get? Abraham was waiting for a child from God with Sarah initially. But when Sarah saw that she was getting old and nothing was happening, she now said that, oh, let this maid servant give me a child, like through this maid servant, no more through God, right? So Abraham also saw that, this is a great, it's something nice, it's a good advice, let me just do it to just please my wife. And so he went into his maid servant, which is the Hagar, the servant, and she became pregnant. We all know now, if you are used to like watching African movies, you know that when there's a first wife or a second wife, or when a mistress get pregnant for a man that has been like expecting a child, the mistress like becomes so pompous and carry her shoulder like, I have arrived, like I'm the one carrying the head to this kingdom. Therefore she behaves anyhow. And that was just what Hagar did to Sarah. She started behaving anyhow. And then Sarah was like, no, I can't take this. Meanwhile, by then, they've not changed Sarah's name to Sarah, but that has Sarai. Then she was still Sarai, and Abraham was still Abram, or how do you call it? Me, I just like calling them their real name right from the beginning. Anyway, back to my story. So Sarah now came to meet Abraham that, see this maid servant, so she's causing me more pain. I don't want her again. Send her away. And Abraham was like, she's your servant. Do whatsoever you want with her. So I guess maybe Sarah too started giving the servant like back now. The servant started like giving Sarah attitude. So Sarah too gave her attitude because Sarah did not send her away. It was maybe the way Sarah was treating her. She had no choice than to like run away. She flee for her life. So she was in the desert, weak, no food and all that. Then an angel, it was not God, an angel appeared to her. If you read that Genesis if you start from verse 8, and he said, Hagar is Sarah's maid. Where have you come from and where are you going? Then she said, I am fleeing from the presence of my mistress Sarah. And the angel of the Lord said to her, return to your mistress and submit yourself under her hand. And the angel of the Lord said to her, I will multiply your descendant exceedingly, so that they shall not be counted for multitude. Then the angel told her that she was with a child, but then she was pregnant. And you shall bear a son, and you shall call his name Ishmael, because the Lord has heard your affliction. The Lord heard the affliction of Hagar. Okay, he also heard the affliction of Sarah. He shall be a wide man. His hands shall be against every man, and every man's hand against him. And he shall dwell in the presence of all his brothers. You see, he's going to be a wide man. His hand is going to be against every man, and every man will be against him. And he will dwell in the presence of his brothers. Then she called the name of the place, you know all those Hebrews names now, which the Lord spoke to her. Go and read it, you know it. Therefore, there was a well there. She named the well, and then she went back to her mistress, which is Sarah, and she learned to be submissive now. Okay? So that's the story of Hagar, which Had it been the angel did not appear to her and asked her to go back, maybe she would have just wandered in that wilderness, and maybe she would have lose her life or lose the baby because she was pregnant. Maybe she would have been weak, no food and no water. But God came to her rescue again, because the child, at the end of the day, she the child of Father Abraham. You see Abraham's seed that is in her. So if you now go to that chapter 17, we started when Abraham was 99 years old. God appeared to Abraham and said to him, I am Almighty God, walk with me and be blameless. And that was when God now changed Abraham's name, changed also Sarah's name, and made a covenant with Abraham. From that verse 8, also I give to you your descendant after you the land in which you are a stranger. God also gave Abraham the land of Kenya, where he was as a stranger, and said that he's going to possess the land. His descendant also will inherit the land. God made covenants with him, told him to go and circumcise every male in his house, and also God promised him that he was going to have his own child. So if you now go down to the verse 16, God also say, and I will bless her, that is Sarah. I will also give her a son through you, and I will bless her, and she shall be a mother of nations. Kings of people shall be from her. Then Abraham fell down on his face and laughed and said in his heart, a child can be born to a man that is old, and Sarah that is old also. By then Sarah was 90 years old, while Abraham was 100 years. Then that verse 18, Abraham thought God was saying that he's going to bless Ishmael. Verse 18, Abraham now said, and Abraham said to God, oh, that is Ishmael, I might live before you. Then God said to him, no, Sarah your wife shall bear you a son, and you shall call his name Isaac, and I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, and with his descendant after him. So the covenant of God is with Isaac, which is Abraham's child, and not Ishmael. But God also said that verse 20, and as for Ishmael, I have heard you. God heard what Abraham said, and he decided to also bless Ishmael. After all, Ishmael also is from Abraham, right? And as for Ishmael, I have heard you. Behold, I will bless him, and will make him fruitful, and will multiply him exceedingly. He shall beget 12 princes, and I will make him a great nation. But my covenant I will establish with Isaac, whom Sarah shall bear to you at this time next year. And then he finished talking to Abraham. So Abraham took Ishmael, did the circumcision and everything and all that. Okay, so God has already said he was going to still bless Ishmael and make him to be fruitful. But his covenant is going to be with Isaac, right? So if you now come to that verse 21, where there was problem that Sarah have to send Hagar away. That was when Sarah now gave birth to his own son, which is Isaac. By then Ishmael was already 13 years old. And then there was a problem again between two of them. So Sarah came crying to Abraham that Abraham need to send this woman away, and Abraham find something somehow, because this is a woman that has my own child. But God appeared to him and told him that he should hear what Sarah is saying and he should send the woman away. So if you now read that chapter 21, they sent Hagar away, which is son, which is Ishmael, and they went with food and little water. But along the line, they were wandering in the desert. The food finished, the bread finished. If not a God of merciful God, he would have left them again. Hunger again would have just ended all of them, their life. Do you get? But God is still a merciful God. He still look at that child and still know that this child is from Abraham, the man I love so much, the man I say he should walk with me, and he still came to the rescue of this child, else the child would have made it. If you now read from that chapter 21, if you start reading from verse 16, now this is when the water finished and everything. Then she went and sat down across from him at a distance of about a dash, she laid the child somewhere where there was no water for them in the wilderness when the water has finished, so that she will not watch the boy to die. Verse 17, and God heard the voice of the child, that is, the small child was crying, no food and no water. Then the angel told her, fear not, for God has heard the voice of the child. It was the voice of the child. It was not even Hagar that God had any business with. It was because of that child, and because that child was from Abraham, right? Arise, lift up the child and hold him with your hands, for I will make him a great nation. Then God opened the eyes of Hagar, and she saw a well of water, and she went and filled water in the container and gave the water to the child, and the child drank and was able to live. So God was with the child, and he grew up and dwelt in the wilderness, and his mother took a wife for him from the land of Egypt. So the descendant of Ishmael, which the Hagar, the slave woman, was the mother. The mother got a wife for him from Egypt, and they continued their journey. And before they went to that desert and everything, if you remember, the first angel that appeared to Hagar when she was pregnant with this child, the angel told her, that is in chapter 16 of Genesis, from that verse 11. And the angel of the Lord says to her, behold, you are with a child, and you shall born a son, and you shall call his name Ishmael, because the Lord has heard your affliction. He shall be a wide man. His hand shall be against every man, and every man's hand against him, and he shall dwell in the presence of his brothers. So this was what me and my sister were just discussing. She was like, God already knew the future of this child, the kind of person he's going to be, the kind of descendant that are going to like come after him and all that. But why didn't God stop it and everything? And I was trying to explain to her that God is a merciful God. He wants us to like make decisions on our own. He knew very well that, yeah, we are going to have like two nations, and it will be like a little bit somehow causing confusion. But he was going to like send someone to like come to our rescue, which is Jesus Christ when he came. So now it's left for us to make our own decision to like do the right thing or do the wrong thing. If you read Bible, like some stories, you just be like, why did God do this? Why didn't God just do this? Look at what we are going through now, because you all know what I'm talking about and how the whole thing and everything came out and all that. But in all, we're all descendants of Father Abraham. We are all children of Abraham, be it from Ishmael, be it from Isaac. It all depends on who you want to follow or who you want to like listen to. Like we Christian, we follow the footstep of Isaac, because Isaac was a covenant child with God, and the covenant of God like followed him. He did everything in line with God. I will not really blame Ishmael. He grew up in a wilderness and he became a wild man, just like they say and all that. So maybe he didn't really like have the knowledge Ishmael have. I don't know, I don't know why it's like that, but that was the Bible study I had today, and I decided to come and share it with you. For me, what I would draw out of this is that God is still a merciful God. In as much as Sarah was the one that convinced Abraham to like go into Hagar, and a seed, a child was being produced, he didn't want to like just end the child's life like that. He still like wanted to like still bless this child and keep the child. So that is a God that can always like come even when we mess up. He always comes to our rescue. That is just the only thing I would draw from this whole thing. Because at the end of the day, he still like did what he wanted to do. He still gave Sarah a child. Sarah became mother of nation. Abraham still became father of great nation and all that. His words still came to pass. We just have to like wait on God, wait on his own results. And let us not take action into our own hands, because look at what we have now, just because Sarah could not wait. But I'm not blaming Sarah, because God have a way of like doing things in his own way and time. Thank you so much for doing this Bible study with me. Feel free to go through the Bible, read it yourself, and get a clear understanding on your own. Maybe you understand better than me. You can even leave a comment down below. Other than that, I'll be seeing you in my next video. Subscribe to my channel if you've not, and like this video. Bye.